Hey, I'm Chris, and in this video we're going to be breaking down my prep and the event of Lakes of Blood, which is a 40-person GT that I went to this past weekend. So yeah, sit in, it's going to be pretty interesting. I've kind of got a lot of different clips talking about the different parts of my journey, from like list construction to preparation to the event itself, and some reflections afterwards. So buckle in and hope you enjoyed this kind of different content of kind of actually doing a tournament report. I hope you enjoy. So this video is going to be kind of different from a lot of the other content that I've done. It's going to be lots of like little edits of different times over the next few weeks as I get ready for Lakes of Blood, which is the yearly tournament that happens in my hometown of Rotorua. So I kind of just wanted to take you through the journey of like where I'm at in my head with lists, what armies I'm thinking of taking, build a couple of like test lists, and then kind of go over the next couple of weeks. I'll just keep editing little bits in of my thoughts, where I'm altering my lists, kind of if I have practice games, maybe show some of the practice games, some snippets from those, and kind of just go through there and kind of show you my progression on how I come to a decision on a list before list deadline. So list deadline for Lakes of Blood is, I think it's the 10th or 11th of October, and it's the weekend after 18th that is the actual tournament. So kind of going through, talking about the couple of lists that I'm interested in taking, why I think they're interesting. I'm actually going to build the lists with you guys just so you can kind of see where my head's at and why I'm taking certain things. And then I'll have some practice games, hopefully show a bit of that on this video. And then if I have any thoughts, I'll add those in as well. But without further ado, let's kind of just jump straight into making the lists, eh? So this is the Battleforge app. I've got it downloaded onto my computer using BlueStacks, and I'm going to just go through making the first list that I think would be interesting. So the first army that I think is really interesting, and these aren't necessarily the strongest factions in the meta right now, but these are the two kind of armies that I'm interested in playing and that I am excited to be playing for different reasons. And we'll start with my beloved Tau, because I think Tau are in a really interesting place with the new update. So we have a Tau Empire Strike Force mission, and I'm going to be, if I'm going to be playing them, it's most likely going to be Montcar. So we'll just write this as Montcar, and we will create army. So the first kind of things that we need is we need characters. And realistically, I think obviously I've already kind of planned this list out of my head and I've made it on my phone before. So I'm kind of just going through why I'm taking each thing here, but I thought I'd do it with you. So we're starting with an Ethereal with Strike Swiftly. That Strike Swiftly gives your, it does 2 units within 6 inches of him, Scout 6. So you can be really aggressive with this. It means you can deploy a bit more aggressively with your units. And because if you go second, you can kind of move them back, be a bit safer, but you also have that aggression if you go early. Now, in this list, I'm not taking any battle line, but I am taking a Devilfish. So we've got a Devilfish here. We're swapping out the Pulse Carbines. Because we're in Montcar, we don't need the Assault to be able to guide, since we have it for the first 3 turns anyway. And we're swapping in some Smart Missile systems. Now, you're going to see a lot of Smart Missile systems in this list. And the idea here is it's really hedging my bets against like the little 5-man chaff pieces, the Jaegers, the Eldar bodies, all that kind of stuff. Is if I have stuff that I can clear those behind walls without using an asset, that's really, really important. So I'm kind of just doing that to hedge my bets in those matchups, and also having 20 plus, 30 plus SMS shots in your list, smart missile shots, is just, I think, a pretty good spot. And then take 2 Seekers, because why would you not? Now into the other data sheets. This is where all the juice comes in. So firstly, I'm just going to grab all the pieces, and then we'll go through and edit the war gear onto them. So we got a Ghost Keel. We're going to have 3 Hammerheads, but I'll only grab 1 for now. We're going to have a unit of Kroot Carnivores. We're going to have, in the end, 3 units of Pathfinders. We're going to have a Piranha or a couple, and then we're going to have some Riptides and some Stealth teams. And that is, I believe, it for the units. So the Ghost Keel, swapping out the Fusion Collider and Flamer, and we're going to go Raker and Blaster. It's just my preferred loadout. Having more Ion is really nice. There is an interesting thought just having some Strength 12 in the list, so you have that punch into the Strength 12, the Toughness 12 models, and you're winning them on 4s. But you have lethals, so I think it's a bit of a wash. The extra AP is nice, but 2 shots over 6. So I think just the Fusion Blast is fine there. And then we grab the Battlesuit Support System. Now for our Hammerheads, We're swapping out the railguns, getting rid of the pulse carbines, adding in ions, double smart missile systems, and grabbing those seeker missiles. And we are going to duplicate that twice because we had 3 of these bad boys. 1 unit of recruit carnivores, and then we have the pathfinders. The sergeant is going to have a recon drone, and then he will have a gun drone and a marker drone. The gun drone can be swapped out for a shield drone. I like these pathfinder units are quite strong in this detachment because you can get the +1 AP on 2 units. So just having those extra couple of shots can mean you kill that last guy in the unit, or you do that extra wound that you need to do to finish something off, or to just put it past a breakpoint. So I like the gun drone specifically in Montcar. Otherwise, I usually take marker and shield drone. You don't really need the marker drone here at all because it just gives you advance and guide, but it does give you advance and guide after turn 3. So I think it's worth it here. It's a bit of a wash, but I think it's still nice to have. And then yeah, he gets the grenade launcher, and then in the other ones, we just drop 3 carbines and we add in 3 ion rifles. Iron rifles data sheet is very, very good. So it's 30-inch range, 3 shots each. So you get 9 shots at hitting on, it'll always be 4s because they'll always get to guide for at least themselves. So they'll be hitting on 4s, strength 8, -2, potentially -3 if you use the focus fire strat, and damage 2. That's a pretty good profile. Like, that's actually pretty good. You can also potentially get full hit rerolls if you're shooting something that's been pinpoint acquisitioned. So that's really, really strong. So we're going to have 3 of these, but we are going to swap one of them because we have to have something that starts in our devilfish. So we're going to swap one of these from the recon drone to the grav inhibitor drone. Since if you're embarked within the devilfish, you can't start infiltrated, but you can start scouted. So that's just a little bit of efficiency there. So one of them having the grav inhib for the -2 charge. It's also just a nice piece of tech to have. Really good for those melee matchups. Now we have the piranha, swapping out that silly burst cannon for a fusion blaster, and then grabbing those 2 seeker missiles. Then we have the riptide, swapping out the plasma and heavy burst cannon for an ion accelerator, and again, smart missile systems. We're just pushing through as much smart missile systems as we can, and then 2 missile drones. The upgrades to riptides really help Montcar. Montcar had a bit of a transport opening issue, whereas you had to put like 2 riptides or an ion and a ion hammerhead and a riptide out to kill a transport, but then you didn't have enough assets to also kill the stuff inside. Now it's actually quite likely that a riptide can kill a rhino on its own, so then you can have something else come out, say like a unit of pathfinders, and then shoot the stuff that's inside as well. So yeah, can kind of get a bit of double efficiency there, which is really, really strong. Then we have stealth suits. These guys aren't very special at all. The sergeant gets a fusion blaster, and then we give them a marker drone and a shield drone. The extra gun here doesn't really matter, gun drone here, so we just we take it out for this one. Now, there's a couple of different places I want to try with this list from here. So we have 120 points left. So I'm going to do the double piranha upgrade here. So we have 3 piranhas total. I'm not sure if this is how it's going to stay. I would also really like to try and fit in a second unit of recruit carnivores, but obviously that 5 extra points is a bit of an issue. So this is the first list anyway. This is the first concept that I've come up with. We might be editing this throughout. So just, that might just be something that's happening. So just so you're aware, this isn't necessarily the final list. This is my first thoughts on where I'm starting with this. I haven't actually had a practice game with this specific list yet, but I've heard some good things about it, and I really want to try this out as my concept. This is a much more aggressive, take control of the board army, but I think because of the lethals, it's quite good into knights, and into like Death Guard actually has quite a good game because it can just push through a lot of damage, and damage 3 is a pretty good place for it, and then the Riptides being damage 4 is really good into those Death Shroud as well. So you have kind of all the damage you need, and then you have the speed as well early game to really put that pressure on and kind of up the game from the start. I get ahead, and now without challenger cards, you're not punished for getting ahead early, which is why I quite like the second carnivores, because if you can sticky multiple objectives early, it can really put your opponent in a really awkward position. But yeah, so this is the list that we're going to start with Montcar. Now let's go make our second list, which is going to be probably a bit of a surprise to everyone, but I guess if you watched the fundraising stream on the weekend, a bit less of a surprise. I think I've already scrolled past them. No, I haven't. Space Marines Dark Angels. It's going to be a strike force army, of course, and it's Wrath of the Rock. The reason I'm taking Wrath of the Rock is I think it's poised really well on the meta right now. Ooh, got a bowl right next to me for my breakfast. So let's go through this. So Wrath of the Rock, you get if you're for all infantry and mounted, if the strength is higher than the toughness, it's -1 to wound. So it's just a durability increase. But you also get some really great strats. You get for anything in your army, advanced shoot and charge, and you can push this. You use the strat after you've rolled all your advances, so you know exactly what unit to use it on. Really, really powerful there. There's also Leonin Aggression, which is just game changing in some matchups, which is 3-inch charge at the end of your opponent's charge phase. But if you're Deathwing keyword, you get a 6-inch charge, which is like you can charge up to 6 inches, which is really, really strong. So it's basically like a second heroic for all your Deathwing units. It's pretty powerful in the right circumstances. But anyway, let's get into this. So we're grabbing Azrael because he is just an absolute dime. We are grabbing the lion. I literally have the lion that I built this weekend right here. Hey. So I literally just built him. Just part, maybe a little bit why I'm told to taking this. But I also want to take a combi lieutenant because the combi lieutenant is just really value, and also being slightly more durable just makes him a little bit more annoying to deal with. The lion will be our warlord, but nothing else is going to take any enhancements here. Oh, I am missing probably my favorite piece in this, which is a Captain in Gravis armor. Now, the Captain in Gravis armor is going to have the enhancement for ancient weapons. And then we're going to swap out his default war gear for a Boltstorm Gauntlet, a Power Fist, and a Relic Chainsword. So now with ancient weapons, that gives you +2 strength, +1 AP, +1 damage. It's a very powerful enhancement for melee. So he becomes 5 attacks at hitting on 2s, strength 10, AP 3 damage, and 3 extra attacks at hitting on 2s, strength 6, AP 2 damage. So this guy has 8 damage 3 attacks at least AP 2. This is like just a terminated deleter. This guy is absolutely a baller of a captain. Yeah, he slaps. And in this detachment, the advanced shoot and charge is really good. He's going to be going with the unit of eradicators, so it really, really helps. They're quite CP hungry in this detachment, so having access to a free strat and then also having a beater in the unit. So the issue with eradicators is if they get tagged in this detachment, there's no way to fall back and shoot. Whereas this guy can actually help clear those units and still be useful in that situation. We're going to have 1 unit of intercessors because I rate sticky objectives really high. And we're just going to give the sergeant a Power Fist and grenade launcher. And then the rest of the unit is going to be basic. And then we go into our other data sheets. And we are going to push all the way down to Deathwing Knights, and we're going to have 3 units of those. 1 of them will have maces, 2 of them will have swords, but we'll sort that out in a second. Then we will have a unit of eradicators. We've actually got no vehicles, but because the lion is a monster, it means you can't free cycle bring it down, which is quite nice in this detachment as well. It's quite a nice little bit of tech to have in the list. Now what am I missing here? Definitely going to have scouts and stern guard. Those are no-brainers. I think that might be... Oh, yeah, and then there's the vanguard vets. Beautiful. Okay, so one of these units gets... Oh, yeah, so we're keeping the maces for sure. And then, so one of these units, or 2 of these units get power weapons. So we'll give that one and this one. Get rid of the maces, the power weapons. I think in this meta, the power weapons are slightly better, but into vehicles, the maces are more consistent. So you kind of just want a bit of both. The -1 attack does hurt a little into some of the units, but I think this is kind of, for me, like with the prevalence of multiple 20-man marine units, the extra attacks are more valuable than being able to be slightly better into vehicles, personally. And then we've got our eradicators. We're going to have 6 of these bad boys. And then 2 of them are going to swap out their melter rifles with multi-melters. This is the kind of anti-tank answer in the list. It's going to be attached with that Gravis Captain. It shoots like an absolute truck. Being able to be +2 strength for one of the stratagems makes the melter rifles and multi-melters strength 11, which can one wounds big knights on 4s, but also wounds a lot of the meta on 3s, which can just be a really great breakpoint. Also makes them over strength 10 for like Terminators. So when you're shooting into Terminators, you can be wounding them on 2s. Since you're not getting rerolls into the Terminators, it's really nice to be just a bit more efficient in the wounding. You know, you're effectively, you know, you're +1 to wound there, which is really nice. Then we have scouts. The scouts are just going to have all melee weapons and a missile launcher. Sergeant can have a chainsword. Then the scouts will get rid of all the bolt guns and put in 3 of those and 1 heavy bolter. What are we missing here? Invalid wargear for the sergeant. What are we missing here on the sergeant? Bolt gun be replaced with one of the strategies. Did it the wrong way. Cool. Sweet. And then we have our Stern Guard vets. Only thing that's happening here is the sergeant is getting a power fist because the 4 attack power fist is just really good, especially when attached to Azrael. So he gets sustained hits on that. The Vanguard veteran sergeant's Stern Guard bolt rifle can be replaced with one of the following: power fist and Stern Guard bolt rifle. Oh, so he still has his close combat weapon. Cute. Oh yeah, and then we also do, sorry, getting sidetracked here, we also do want a Stern Guard heavy bolter for one of the Stern Guard bolt rifles. And that's that unit. And then we have 2 units of Vanguard vets, and these guys are just getting all Inferno pistols. With the advanced shoot and charge strat, it makes them really strong. And also being able to get +2 strength to strength 10 on the Inferno pistols is just a really nice breakpoint as well. So these are kind of like your JPIs in this. They're there to clear chaff. They can open transports actually kind of consistently now with, you know, shooting and charging. Yes, you're probably 1-for-1ing your unit for a transport, but since transports can be a bit of an issue for these melee kind of style lists, being able to just 1-for-1 for a transport, get the guys out, and then be able to maybe cascading charge or something else can be really quite strong. And we have 2 units of those. And that is the list here. So we'll go up to the top of this one. We have Azrael leading Stern Guard, which is just the Stern Guard get a 4-up invulnerable save, which is quite strong, and also sustained hits 1 on the shooting and melee while led by Azrael. It also gives us that additional CP, as this list really loves throwing 2 to 3 CP a turn, which is why we also have a Gravis Captain to kind of try and help with that CP expenditure a little bit. Combi Lieutenant, because having a second loan up, having a loan up to also loan up that also loan ups Lion is really, really strong. Also just a good infiltrating piece early, gives you a second infiltrator, and the reactor move is really nice just to kind of mess with opponents' movements a little bit. And then the Lion, with his new buff that he picks 2 of his abilities, he actually is really, really good. Like, he was already fine, and I think getting the second ability has actually pushed him to be quite good now. Being able to always have the 4-up Feel No Pain active, so his one main weakness is gone, was neutered, and also always having, you can have either the reroll ones to hit and wound and melee, 6-inch aura, which is basically like makes your entire army oath agnostic. Like your Deathwing Knights basically just don't need oath anymore as long as the Lion's close by, which is really, really good. And or having the teleport for like mission play to like really mess up your opponent's plans. It's really, really strong. I had a couple of games with this list so far. I had one without the Lion, and it had a Judicia with Inner Circle, which is also quite good. And then I tried one with the Lion, and I think I like the Lion more. The early plays you can do with the Lion are very strong, and he also hits roughly as hard, but also having the flat 4 damage strikes are really, really good in the current meta. So really like having access to both of those. So yeah, that's the list. And then we have Intercessors, 3 units of Deathwing Knights, 1 with maces, 2 with power weapons, Eradicators, Scouts with combat weapons and missile launcher, Stern Guard vets, and then 2 units of Vanguard vets. And that's the list for now. So I'm going to be trying both of these lists throughout the next couple of weeks. I'll be jumping back in with edits every once in a while. Last night, before I did skill check with Tate, I played a game against Admech. This is Skitarii Hunter Cohort Admech with 5 laser chickens, and just, 3 transports, all the kind of good stuff you'd expect in a AdMech list. New AdMech was very strong. I was playing Montcar. I was trying that list out because I was talking to Dylan beforehand. He's on my team for the Tactical Chile Teams tournament, which is in the start of November. So we're kind of seeing like what would this matchup feel like, and it felt pretty bad. I got first drop and I went first, and it still didn't feel like a great game. The -1 to hit everywhere felt pretty bad. The not getting rerolls was pretty rough, and not getting rerolls until later in the game felt really rough. And yeah, it was definitely a difficult game. It ended up being, I think, a 8-12 to Dylan in teams. So I lost by, I think it was like 13, 14 points. Which is like not a bad loss, but if we're taking this to a singles event, which is the goal, that's not, we can't be losing by that, especially with go first and deploy first. That those games should be the big wins, not the small losses. So definitely need to be tinkering and seeing how I can maybe deal with more infantry units, especially infantry units that have stealth and a 5 invulnerable save. So a couple of things that I'm thinking of. I've got a long drive today for work, so I will be thinking about this quite a bit. I'm thinking maybe a Star Scythe unit could be interesting with flamers to deal with those kind of like chaff pieces. Since a lot of my stuff isn't actually really good at killing volume chaff, maybe I need to add some of that just to kind of hedge my bets in that regard. Also, a fire knife team with missiles and a missile commander could be really good. Getting the full hit rerolls on the full strength units helps with stealth, and also the fire knives ignore modifiers. So it kind of gives me another ignore modifiers unit, so then I'm up to 4 that ignore mods. But it's just, what do I drop to gain access to that, I think, is the hardest thing. So that's what I'm going to be trying thinking about today, and I'll get back to you hopefully tonight with my thoughts there. So I just wanted to give a little update on where my thoughts are with the list for Lakes of Blood. I have it's been about a week since my last recording. I played 3 games with Montcar with that Montcar list, and 3 games as well with the Dark Angels list. I'll go through the Montcar games first. I played Custodes on a good board for myself and went first, so that was a huge win for me. So that was really good. I went second into AdMech, and it was just over instantly. There's nothing I could do in that game. They were able to block me down early, and then there was just nothing left to do. So that was very unfortunate. And then I played into Imperial Knights. It was the spearheaded arms with the it was a lancer and a defender, and then 4 of each of the smalls. Quite a cool list, but the armigers went down very easily. But the bigs actually became a lot more of an issue than I thought they would be. Yes, I'm only strength 10 with lethals, but they're able to keep the game incredibly close. I went first, which was, I don't know if it was actually great in this game, but it was fine. The game ended as a 10-10 draw and a singles win for myself. But my damage just was not going through in the bigs, and I could see definitely the armiger style list at spearheaded arms are better for Montcar, because the Riptides just eat through the armigers really quickly. Even with the 4 up invulnerable saves, you just still push through a lot of damage. But if it was the like Questoris champions, where you have like four bigs and then a couple of smalls and some chaff, I could see that actually being more of an issue than previously thought. So for a singles event, I'm not sure how much I'm loving Montcar. Going second feels pretty bad most of the time, which again is going to happen, 3 out of the 5 games that I play most likely. So that's something I'm really torn about, that with the Montcar list. It's really good. It can keep games close most of the time, apart from the AdMech game. The AdMech game is just an absolute blowout loss. I think if I play AdMech at the event, I would be going quite aggressively and just trying to make something happen. Whereas it's a game where it's probably the best I could expect is like a 15-5 teams, or losing by 25 points, which is not where you want to be in a singles list. Obviously, every army's gonna have those like bad matchups, but it's a really bad matchup, and I know there's at least one person there, Dylan, that's going to be playing AdMech, so I really don't want to have a matchup that's just so horrendously bad for me into that. But besides that, I'm really enjoying Montcar. I think I might be taking them to the teams event. That's a couple weeks after Lakes of Blood. I think they're really good. If they get a good table, the go first, go second doesn't matter as much. And also you can just keep a lot of games close if you get that good table. So I think that's could be a really strong set for the Montcar Tower. So I might be trying to aim that more for the teams event, and then maybe taking Wrath to the singles event. So into Lakes. So then let's go into my games with the Wrath of the Rock list. So I haven't touched the list at all. I played the exact same one. I do have a couple of ideas that I might go through with you guys with things I could change, but I'm really enjoying this list. So I'm not even sure if I want to change it or not. But so I played against Death Guard and got I think it was an exact singles draw. So that was really good. It was a Virulent Victorium list with the 10 Plague Marines and stuff like that. That game was really close. I went first on supply drop, I went second, sorry, on supply drop, and I got my eradicators out to shoot a couple of bloat drones that were in the open, all within range, and it did a combined damage, 2 damage to a bloat drone. So not an ideal start for that unit, but even losing that unit on my opponent's turn 2 because they just shot it to death, I thought if I killed 2 of the bloat drones, their main enemy is gone. Since they both survived, those 2 bloat drones ended up picking up my unit. Really unfortunate there, but I was able to keep it really close, which was really, really good. And I feel like if the dice weren't so against me, or even if I just played a bit safer that game, I think it could have been definitely a bit more in my favor. So I really like that game. I played against Emperor's Children, and that game was fine. I probably could have pushed a bit more aggressively. I was very cagey in this game. We were playing Linchpin. So I locked down my primary. My primary was very secure the whole game, but I didn't attack his expansion early enough. The map we were playing on made it kind of awkward to be able to do that. And the Demon Princes were definitely an issue, but the 4 Feel No Pain was really good. The Lion just instantly killed one of them when they in contact, and then just positioning the Lion so it was within heroic range a lot of the time for charges, and then I could always counter charge with Deathwing Knights, which the Infractors just really don't want to deal with. So it's quite a reasonable matchup. I won at 12-8 for teams, won by over 10 points, which felt safe, but I could definitely push that a lot harder if I wanted to, so I could get a bigger win. But knowing that if I play quite cagey, I can still get a win out of that game was really, really nice. So and then my last game was in 2000 Suns, and I got to go first. My opponent deployed pretty aggressively, but if he went first, it definitely could have been a very different game. I deployed a bit more carefully, or a bit more cagily, I guess. But I did put my eradicators out, so if Magnus wanted to move 20 inches and see them, he could. But then at least he was in front of my army, and I'd be able to deal with him with the rest of my army. This game ended up as a 20-0 for me, which is good. So I won by, I think it's exactly 51 points. What happened here is he had to get everything out to kind of deal with me, but 2 Deathwing Knights would kill a whole rubric unit or close to it, and then the next turn they would finish it off. So it was kind of one of these things, like I was able to tag his whole army on multiple turns, and they can't really fall back and do anything. I was able to kill Magnus turn 3. The one Eradicator that got left alive from Magnus killing the other 5 was able to do the last damage to him, so that was very fun. But definitely the Thousand Suns matchup feels manageable. I think if it had the Terminator brick, it could be a bit more iffy, but the Terminators are a lot of damage too in melee, so I'm not super worried about that. But the volume of shots that they can send through is also definitely something that I'm worried about, especially when you can up the AP or get full hit rerolls. Those kind of things can be really, really scary. Just throwing a bunch of 3-up saves that I need to make. I could lose 2 Deathwing Knights, then the clapback isn't nearly as hard. So I think that could be definitely a piece that I could add in for the next it's something to think about for my next couple of games, is like, what if there's that big Terminator brick? So I'm going to try and get some practice games into that. But I think at this point I am going to be sold on taking Wrath. If it's the Wrath list that I've already showed you guys, I won't really edit it, but there is a couple of other tests. I want to try Desolation Marines. The maps for Lakes of Blood have been released, and 4 of the 5 ones I can get Desolation Marines into Plunging Fire, and it just gives a great tool piece to be able to pick off units without trading things. So they kind of do the job of the Vanguard veterans a lot of the time. I still think you need at least 1 Vanguard vet unit because you need to be able to get things onto objectives. and similarly with the scouts, but they could just add a very interesting piece to the list. But it would mean I'd have to swap out the Stern Guard unit, and I really am liking the Azrael and Stern Guard unit. It's been just absolutely valuable. It's a 215 point skirmishing unit that can pick up pretty much anything that's 215 points itself. You just oath it, you shoot it, you charge it, and it is usually dead. So yeah, just thought I would update you with my thoughts there once I play some more games. I'm going to try record the next couple of games that I play if I can, so that I can put some snippets in the games for you guys and we can kind of review the games together. But whether that happens or not, we'll see. But I hope you're enjoying this so far. So list sub has just happened, and I have submitted my list for Lakes of Blood this weekend. I kind of bounced back and forth, played a couple more games, kind of a bit more practicey stuff. Found out that there's a couple of matchups that I was struggling in, and was trying to think of what units I could take to kind of help these things, and also what was kind of like how the list was playing to my playstyle and how I could add things to work with my playstyle better. So obviously you need to change the list to accumulate your playstyle a little bit, to acclimate to your playstyle a little bit, but you also need to change your playstyle a little bit for the list. Like there has to be a bit of give and take there. So I've landed on a kind of interesting list. It's very similar, but just with a couple of tweaks to things. So let's go through it together now, eh? So we have Azrael, Captain Gravis Armor with Boltstorm Gauntlet, Power Fist, Relic Chainsword, and Ancient Weapons. Just 8 flat 3 damage attacks is just really, really good. I've been really often just having him on his own and not actually attached to the Eradicators. The only time you would attach him to the Eradicators now is if you are going to be spending a lot of command points on the strats for the Eradicators. If you're going to be advancing shooting them often and +2 strengthening them a lot in a matchup, then I would attach him just to get that extra value from the free strat. But otherwise, he's been really great on his own. An extra lone op for the Lion. And also he just stays alive way longer than you should with the -1 to wound, toughness 6, halving damage, 4 up invul, 3 up save. Like he's just really tanky for what he is. Having grenades, he can also just on his own through free strat grenades often. So he's just been absolutely key, and I think all the Wrath of the Rock list should be running this guy. Whether you're taking Eradicators or not, I think the Captain and Gravis is just an auto include. Got a Combi Lieutenant, just a great piece of tech. And then we've got the Lion, as I said earlier, he's been absolutely amazing. The turn 1 being able to lift into the sky and then rapid ingress on your opponent's turn has been really powerful. Your opponent doesn't really plan for where the Lion could be, and even just being able to teleport him turn 1 to a really good staging position has been really powerful. And then also being able to either keep up the mortals or keeping up the real ones has been really, really good. He's been an absolute key. There's a couple of games where I've used him a bit too aggressively and I've lost him early, but the games where he's been alive the entire game, he's just completely taken over the games and won them for me. Unit of Intercessors. Now, this is where Azrael's actually going now. I absolutely loved having the Stern Guard with him, but as you'll see later, what I've added to include the special unit that I've added, I had to drop the Stern Guard. So Azrael is now either going on his own or with the Intercessors. They're still quite good. The extra shots with sustained hits can be quite good. The 4-up invul does make them more tanky than they should be. And yes, it's still like a good little beta unit. Definitely not as much of a damage piece, but still a really good utility piece. Then we've still got the 3 units of Deathwing Knights here. 1 with maces, 2 with swords. All of the Knight Masters with Great Weapon of the Unforgiven. Found that this is the ideal loadout for me. Especially for the list that I have, and we can see now what the special include is. It's a unit of Desolation Marines, and this is, you got the 5 Castellan launchers, then the 1 Vengor launcher, and then the 4 super cracks on them. I found this unit to be surprisingly good. Being able to get the Castellan launchers to strength 6 is a huge breakpoint. There's so much T4, 5, and 6, which obviously +2 strength is really good for all those breakpoints, but there's actually so much toughness 5. And basically, getting +2 to wound on this unit is absolutely bonkers on those Castellan launchers. Especially in the bigger model units, can be really, really punishing. Also very good at killing like 1 or 2 crisis suits a turn, this unit. If you oath +2 strength, you're now wounding crisis on 3s. So really good in those kind of matchups. But anything that's like toughness 5, 3-up save, 2 to 4 wounds, it's a pretty good breakpoint to have in the Desolation squad there. Then we still got the Eradicators with 2 multi-melters. Just really solid. You need that anti-tank. I'll see a lot of people running like double Lancers instead of these, and you definitely could, but you need to find extra points. And because I have the 3 units of Deathwing Knights in this list for that kind of added stat check, I've decided that the Eradicators that pretty fit better in this list because they're a bit cheaper, but they still can punch up also really good into the stuff that's like Catans and anything that like halves damage, because it you still get the melter with them as well, so it can be very strong. 1 unit of scouts and 1 unit of vanguard vets. So this army is super tight on resources, so you do have to kind of play in that kind of way, where you're making sure that your scouts are staying alive so you can do multiple actions with them. Same with your vanguard vets, you can't just throw them away early, which is one reason why I thought the Desolation Marines might be a good include, and I've been really enjoying them, because they get to kill your opponent's chaff. So if you're both playing with just your big stuff, I think I win that game most of the time. So, because my big stuff is usually a bit more durable and hits quite hard. So that's kind of like the idea there, is like I plank off over turns 1 and 2 my opponent's trash units, or if they have like a lone character, I can just get if I draw Assassinate 2-1, I can actually get it often. There's quite a few armies that are running those like lone characters that don't have lone up, just to hold your backfield for the extra CP and stuff like that. So being able to just get rid of those early, also really powerful. But yeah, just killing 5 Jaegers, killing 5 Scouts. Killing 5 Scouts is maybe on the unlikelier side of things, but out of 50-50 with all the benefits. But also, 4 Lakes of Blood specifically, 4 of the 5 maps we're playing on have the tall WTC ruins in the deployment zones, which means you can get plunging fire on them. So the Desolation Marines can start deployed on that top layer of the WTC ruins and get plunging fire for the whole game. So the AP1 ignores cover until they move, and then as soon as they move, there'll be the turn that they move, there'll be no ignores cover. But they're still quite good. Like in some matchups, you won't need the extra AP, and you're just trying to push through a bunch of saves. But in the ones where it does matter, like into Marines, where the Desolation Squad isn't as good, if you have plunging fire, it does make them a little bit more efficient into those targets. Obviously, they can still AOC, which does kind of make it a bit iffy. But into the Marine matchups, the 3 units of Deathwing Knights and the Erads and the Lion really help in those matchups. So it's kind of nice having something that's really good in the kind of more MSU matchups. Because you can even split fire this unit. If there's a couple of chaff units, you oath one, you put say like 3 Castellans, then you put 2 Castellans and the Vengor into the other one, and you have a good chance of probably not killing both, but getting them down like low enough that they'll be forced battle shocks, stuff like that. So there's some really good like situational stuff you can do with them. This might be a little bit of cope, and it might not be the greatest thing, but it's fun to try these things, and I've been having good success with them in my couple of practice games that I had since I swapped them in. So I thought, hell, let's give it a go. So yeah, so that's the list that I'm taking to Lakes. I'll probably do 1 or 2 more updates with some practice games over the next week, and then I'll do a tournament recap while I'm there. Since I live in the south of New Zealand and I have to travel for most events, I kind of gotten into the habit of doing this as kind of part of my ritual for when I am traveling for events. It is when I get to the airport, usually, you need to be there an hour early and you have a lot of downtime. Is what I do is I just put some music on and I start looking through and reviewing, not necessarily every list, but any list that I don't understand how it works. I then go onto the GW app, understand how the units work, try and get a feel for as much as I can of the army, and then try and think about how that army works, and then do that for most of the armies. If I know how an army works, like say it's a Space Marine army that I've played a lot, or played against an army a lot, I won't go as in depth. I'll just kind of look through the units, kind of analyze what is the issues for me and what is the win and loss cons for the army for whatever I'm playing. So I'm looking for stuff that does mortal wounds in multiple phases in this army. I'm looking for stuff that can get around the move shoot move, so they can get around end of charge move shenanigans, anything like that. Anything that can kind of mess up the game plan that I want to do is stuff that I'm trying to look, is what I'm looking for here. So this one I'm going to just looking through every single list, and well, not every single list, but most lists, and yeah, just checking to see what they're up to, and try and make a game plan for most things, and spend a couple of seconds on thinking of how would I deploy against this. Is there a mission that's worse for me? Is there a mission that's better for me? Not stuff that you can control, but like going into the game, when you go on to the weekend, you can kind of already have like a little bit of the mental prep done for yourself, which is really important. Yeah, that's the first thing that I really like to do. And now it's time for the recap for the actual event. So we had a lot of planning going into this, and hopefully we can do quite well here. Obviously, I know the results, but let's just go through the tournament itself and kind of go through each game, do a quick play-by-play of each game, and then kind of just come to the finale, and then any thoughts I have after the event. So my first round was into Sam King on his Chaos Demons incursion list. Very cool list. I had, Rotigus, Grid and Clean One, Endless Gift, Scarbrand, and Be'lakor. So really good castle of big creatures, and then just a bunch of mission play with Flamers, Hounds, Beasts and Urkels, all the kind of things you would expect in the list. And I was a little nervous going into this game. In my prep before the event, I did think that Chaos Demons is a bit of a weird one. I don't have that much good stuff into Chaos Demons, and the 18-inch low knot from Be'lakor is actually very bad for the Desolation Marine, so they don't end up doing a whole lot in the game. So I was going into it, was like, okay, I need to kind of maybe have a couple of things go my way a little bit, but also just position in a board state that helps me capitalize on any mistakes that my opponents make. So that was kind of the plan there. Ended up going second in this one, which I did think was quite helpful. And we get Rotigus runs onto his natural expansion objective, which I expected. His Great and Clean One started in reserve, and then kind of just flames onto the middle to do area denial, and then that was kind of his turn one. My turn one, I go kill the flamers that are in the middle. I actually go a fair bit aggressive here and put the Combi Lieutenant on the center objective just to make sure that I contested it, and then put the line 3 inches behind the Combi Lieutenant. So he could also shoot, and 2, just to put him in a bit more of an aggressive spot to kind of hopefully get a bit more commitment out of Sam here, which didn't really happen. But what it did do is it made Sam put Rotigus onto the center, which is where I wanted Rotigus. Rotigus on his natural expansion is a big pain for me because I can't flip his primary very well. And then he ends up deep striking the Great and Clean One on his objective instead, on his expansion objective. So, which is much easier for me to deal with because I can just keep on auto-seeing that. I can't really keep auto-seeing Rotigus because of the -1. Even with my +1, it's just I need to put too many models on, and then the risk with melee can definitely flip it. Whereas with the Great and Clean One, a lot easier. So I was happy to see that happen. And then kind of the game just kind of plays out. Sam does fail a couple of 6-inch charges, which is a bit of a bummer. The Lion gets to do his thing this whole game, gets to get Rotigus down to 1 wound, and then ends up finishing off later game, and then ends up being able to teleport around and do some secondaries for me. The game ends up being fairly close, as you can see here. It's a 12-8 to myself. But yeah, really close game. The Lion's teleport getting me a 6 on sabotage at the end of the game was really good. And just a couple of, just being able to just move around and be quite dynamic with the army, an army that is also quite normally slow, was really, really nice. And yeah, that was kind of about, Scarbrand came down this game and completely whiffed into a unit of Deathwing Knights. I don't even think he killed a single Deathwing Knight. Just rolled 2s to wound, and then the one save he gave me, I saved it. So it's just a bit of a rough one there. And then my Eradicators were able to pick up Scarbrand. So that was a big swing that game as well. Though I'm not sure how many Deathwing Knights Scarbrand actually kills. It's 8, 9 attacks, hitting on 2s. So it's 7 hits, 8 hits. So 6 wounds. So he kills 3 on average. So that's definitely a low roll by him by a long shot, but not too crazy if you get my drift. But yeah, really good round 1. Sam was an absolute pleasure to play against. Really good playing by intent, and just the game was super easy to play with my opponent. Like, it wasn't playing against my opponent, I was playing with them, which is how I always like to play 40k. So now we go into my round 2, which is Heartbreak. Immediately, I go into my teammate at this event, because they also had a little teams section for this, James, with his Warhost Eldari, and I was like, okay, Eldari should be good. And then I realized he had 2 units of Fire Dragons, 2 units of 10 Fire Dragons, which was weirdly very good into me, because it means I can't put the Lion anywhere without him being ingressed by Fire Dragons. And then just with the extra move from Warhost with the aspect, the Battle Focus token, actually makes them pretty scary from anywhere on the board. So I was pretty happy with this game for the most part. The one big mistake that I did this game, and I think was actually the losing play in this game, was I rolled a 4 on a charge to wrap the devil, not the devilfish, sorry, the wave serpent. And then the idea was the lion was going to kill the wave serpent pretty consistently, and then the Deathwing Knights were going to kill Jane Zar's unit, which was inside, because Jane Zar doesn't really do that much to Deathwing Knights. But I rolled a 4 on my charge, and then I was half an inch out once Jane Zar disembarked from being able to tag them and hit them in melee. So that it was really tough. I should have just re-rolled the charge. I had the CP for it. That was the big mistake that I made this game. Apart from that, I think I played this game fairly well. We talked about the game afterwards, and we did say that that was probably the big glaring mistake that I made. But apart from that, yeah, really good game. James, absolute pleasure to play against. He was very, very great at making sure that I understood all of his rules constantly throughout the game. There was one point where I was like, oh, I'll just shoot the lion's pistol into the wave serpent. And he's like, you do realize if I do that, then I'll move it. I was like, thank you. So just like, he was allowing those little things like that. Like really, really great sport from James there. And yeah, well done for my ass this game. At least it was from a teammate. But yeah, really, really, really good game too. Learned a lot, but disappointing that I got the loss, especially so early on. Next, we have my game 3 into Daniel Barnett on his Subterranean Assault Tyranids. This is a game that I got to go first in, and I was able just to kind of shove everything onto all of the objectives, and he didn't really have a game plan for me doing that. So I was able to put Deathwing Knights on the 2 expansion objectives, or close to both expansion objectives, and also then put the Lion and the Combi Lieutenant on the center, so they were lined up in each other, and it was just an awkward position for him to be in, and he put maybe a bit too much stuff off the board to start with, and so he only could shoot, the Exocrine basically not at all turn 1, so it was just a very awkward situation. There's a very funny thing on his turn 2. I had my Eradicators out just to kill, I think it was like a Psychophage, nothing crazy, but he brought his Norn Emissary out to fight the Lion and try and flip the center, because with the 5-up Feel No Pain, Lion doesn't kill you, doesn't kill it. So I was like, I'll Overwatch with the Erads just to try and chip some wounds off to make it more likely that I will kill the Norn with the Lion. And I end up getting the Norn down to 2 wounds. I just rolled really hot with the 6. I think I got 3 6s, and then 3 wounds with them into I think it was like 13 damage or something like that. It was just ridiculous. Very lucky on my behalf, but I was like, I only really needed to do 5 damage, 5-6 damage, and then the Lion will on average still kill the Norn, even with the 5-up Feel No Pain, but it does definitely add some skew into it. But so really good there, and that kind of made the game really much in my favor. He was able to get a pocket in the back of my deployment zone to drop his Trigon Prime and the Exocrine, and he was able to get some shots off on stuff. The -1 to wound here from Dark Angel, from the Wrath of the Rock, really came in clutch. It was really strong. But apart from that, it was a game I felt in control the entire game, and I was able to play around his teleports and stuff fairly well, because deploying in my tunneling in my deployment zone was annoying, but at the same time, I had the entire middle of the board, so it didn't really end up mattering. And then Azrael was able to come and help deal with stuff there as well, and the Lion could also come backwards. So in my control the whole game. He did do a nice play at the end to get a 15 on primary, which is why it was a 19-1 instead of a 20-0. So really good play by him there. So yeah, really want to see Daniel at more events. I think it was his first or second event, and he played really well. So it was just an unfortunate game for him. It was a good matchup for me here. So yeah, but definitely want to see Daniel at more events. Really great guy. Really fun game. And then we have myself. So started day 2. So day 1, 2 wins and a loss. Not feeling super great. Like, I really wanted to finish day 1 undefeated. That was kind of like one of my big goals. But you play the game in front of you, and I lost that game, so I have to just like, okay, now I'm trying for a good podium place now. So I wanted to really try and push my games as hard as possible. And then going into Matt's Chaos Space Marines, this is Renegade Raiders with Noise Marines, all that kind of stuff, a Vindicator. And this game kind of came down to, he disrespected the lion and thought like, oh yeah, I'll still have my Chaos Lord left alive if I charge the lion with 5 legionaries and the Chaos Lord. And I was like, I think on average you actually die. Like it's pretty 50-50. And he died. So he charged the lion on his turn 2, died. And then from that point forwards, I was just kind of mopping up the rest of the army. I went first this game as well, which was really good because I was able to rapid ingress the lion somewhere nice, kind of control the positioning of the board. He came up to kill the combat lieutenant, and then I was able to kill his rhino, so he couldn't get the noise marines out to really hurt the lion with that. So that was really nice. I was able to, again, just controlling this game. The Desolation Marines were quite nice in this game, just picking off like 2 or 3 raptors in this unit, so they couldn't flip my primaries at all as well. So it was really like nice because like 5 OC often can flip a primary, but 2 OC really just never does. So like being able just to chip the units down, because I never actually needed to kill them until you get like no prisoners, and then you're like, cool, now I try and actually kill these units. It was just good to chip 2 to 3 models from each of these units just to make sure that they're not flipping my primary. And then if he wants to flip my primary, he's putting, big units, expensive units on them, and then I can still do the reactive charge strat. So he really doesn't want to do that. So it puts the game really in my position, objective control wise as well. So really, really good game here. And then my turn 3, I had almost tabled him, and then I was just mopping up the pieces after that. But yeah, good game for me. Again, felt really in control of this game. This is definitely the kind of list that my list really wants to go into. Just that kind of hungry, wants to be in the midboard army. Is like I was able to play around Renegade Raiders. I could put all my important stuff off objectives until I've killed most of the stuff that cares about that, and then kind of just go from there. And that's what happened. And then we have my round 5, which is into Hen and his Gore-Track World Eaters. Now, I have to admit, I had never played Gore-Track World Eaters, so I had to ask Hen quite a bit. Hen's a good friend. Really was psyched that I was playing him last round. I love going to events mainly because I get to play my friends a lot of the time, and I hadn't played Hen in a very long time, so it was really great to actually have a game against him. But I had to kind of sit down with him and was like, Hen, how does this army work? Like, what are your tricks? And like, I don't want to like step on any rakes on accident. So like, how do I play this game? And he kind of explained everything to me, how he can, move through walls, get out and charge. He had a land raider, so like how that can kind of interact as well. And some really interesting stuff there. So I deployed in a very safe position where I could heroic with a lot of stuff, and kind of just played for, if you come at me, then the line will get to do something important. And then on his turn 2, he went first, and he ended up on turn 2 deciding to go quite aggressive. Because he realized that he was because he went first, he was in a board state that was just going to lose by 5-10 points by the end of the game, pretty much guaranteed, like if not more. So he decided, hey, I need to shoot my shot, and I need to actually hit some things a bit harder. So he sent everything out, got a good couple of charges, was able to lock down the lion by charging it first with a rhino, just to like lock that down so I couldn't heroic with the lion, which is the way you get around using the lion. I should have seen that. I didn't think about the rhino moving through terrain because it's one of the strats, and then being able to charge me. So it was very cool, a little bit of tech there. Really good play by Hen. But I was able to rapid ingress, weirdly, on my home objective, a unit of Deathwing Knights, and then heroic one of the 10-mans of Berserkers. And then he got to fight with the Berserkers first, and then I was able to interrupt as well, and then I killed all of the Berserks, and then Azrael, the unit that he actually charged, was left alive after the Berserkers fought, and then was able to kill the Master Executions as well. So really was able to clean up that side, and then I was able to recharge and go into Khan's unit the next turn and kind of just clean up all that side. The Desolation Marines were really nice in this, just for the fact that they nickeled and dimed units down. Again, just like they're not killing units, but they're making all your units actually punch up. Like 5 Vanguard Vets actually kill, 2 Exalted 8-bound, but they don't necessarily kill 3. So being able to chip that other one down is really good. So stuff like that can be really helpful to making sure that you're winning these trades without actually only using the one asset, instead of being like, well, this doesn't guarantee it, so I either risk it more or I have to put 2 things out. Whereas like I'm still only putting the one thing out, but I'm gaining that consistency from the Desolation Marines. So I really, really liked that in this game. This is the game where they probably shone the greatest, where it's just like, cool, I killed exactly what I needed there. Cool, I killed exactly the amount that I needed there. For then like Azrael to go on and charge and kill the last, this Slaughterbound. or whatever it might be. So it really helped this game. The lion did die this game to a, I think it was an over. No, it was just the flamer from a dreadnought, which was very unfortunate, but it is what it is. He got shot down by a land raider. Lion did kill the land raider. Lion pretty killed like 500 points that game, which is pretty nice. But yeah, he ended up dying to a Hellbrute's flamer, and then the Hellbrute banged an 11-inch charge to keep the game a bit closer. It was probably going to be a bit bigger, but that Hellbrute charge definitely made it closer, which is just very cool. And it was quite an exciting game. But yeah, ended up, because I was able to clear a couple of his attacking units on his turn as well, really made the game open for me. And then I was able to kind of just like play through the game as well. And it was also purged this round. So the fact that I was able to kill some of his units on his go turn and then kill more on my turn meant that I got kill more that turn as well, which is really quite good and really quite helpful. But yeah, so that was the event, guys. As far as placings go for this event, I ended up coming 5th overall with that one loss. So there was Jonty in first with all the wins with his Necron Starshader list, Sterling with Eldari in second, Josh with Space Wolves in third, losing to Jonty in the final round, Dan with a draw at the beginning and then a draw at the end to just nip me, and then myself in 5th, and then James, who I lost to, in 6th. So felt really good that I ended up beating the one person that I lost in placings, but like, yeah, really good that we both did really well in this event. Yeah, so that was the event. I hope you guys enjoy this kind of different style video that I did, kind of like a bit of the prep stuff, a bit of like bits and bobs from different parts. Sorry if it didn't completely come together perfectly. I'm going to try and do a couple more of these. Let me know what you think of it, what you'd like to see in the future, whether it's prep for other events, preps for pairings, whatever you think that could be an interesting video for me to do in this kind of genre, I guess. Like, put it like in the description below, in the comment section below. You know, let me know if you liked this video, if you want to see more of these, or if you want me to go back to just my instructional videos. It's all really interesting for me. I'm just trying different things and seeing what's interesting. Otherwise, I've been Chris. Like and subscribe, all the good things. Otherwise, there'll be a video here to watch next. Otherwise, see you guys next time.